the time for now, all I'm hearing is that tune in my ear. All I'm hearing is the idea that John Duggan may be on Skype. Hello, St. Petersburg.
Owen, Michael and Anthony, good morning.
What is that? That looks amazing. Every single time you're on this show, there is a new architectural wonder behind you. Do explain what's going on behind your head right now.
Well, this is a very important building behind me, lads. It's the Winter Palace in St. Petersburg. This was the home of the Romanovs, the Tsars of Russia. This was the residence of the monarchy in Russia. It was the capital of Russia, St. Petersburg, until the October Revolution in 1917, which happened here at the Winter Palace in St. Petersburg. So, where Lenin and the Bolsheviks took control. Of course, this city was under siege in World War II by the Germans, and we nearly had 1 million people dying here in terms of civilians, starvation, huge issues, and including Vladimir Putin's baby brother was one person who died. So,
John, it just looked like Captain Jack Sparrow walked behind you.
I was making a serious point, so I don't actually know what's going on behind me. Yeah, so. This was Leningrad, now St. Petersburg, the Venice of the North in Russia here, and already touched by how beautiful a place it is. And of course, another bit of history to be made tomorrow when France play Belgium in the semi-final. Yeah,
it's going to be one hell of an encounter. You saw Belgium or France? You saw France in the flesh last Friday.
No, I saw Belgium against
Belgium,
Brazil.
sorry.
In Kazan, and very impressed by the way Roberto Martinez, who's never lost a competitive game, to be fair to him, as a Belgian manager, set up his team, changed his outlook with the bringing 4 players into defence and playing Kevin De Bruyne as a false 9, Romelu Lukaku out on the right, much more imposing in a position closer to his own goal, and Belgium capitalised on Brazil's errors to win the game, especially in the first half, and they held on.
Yeah, like Roberto Martinez, obviously the sea change, I'd imagine, in the public perception back home in Belgium has been completely different to how it was at the start of the tournament. It was like we had Christophe Tour, the Belgian journalist, on before the show, who would be very well sourced and can very well sum up the public opinion of him. And it was like, would I be going too far to say it was dire before the tournament, John, that people just didn't have any respect for the man?
I don't know if it would be that extreme. Oh, and they scored 43 goals in the qualifiers. They did what they needed to do to get here. I suppose the worry and the fear with Belgium is that they'll flop again and that they'll waste a golden generation. Hazard is 27, De Bruyne is 27, Lukaku, can you believe, is only 25 years of age. This is the peak of these players' careers. So I suppose the fans have that trepidation that's not since the days of Schifo and Keulemans in the 80s that Belgium have had as good a team. And they don't want it to be wasted. So whoever's managing them is going to be under pressure. But they've done everything they needed to do. They've won all their games. They never lost a competitive game, as I say. And they beat Brazil, who are the favourites for the tournament. So Martinez, to be fair to him, I think club management and international management are 2 very different disciplines. He has Thierry Henry, of course, assisting him, and that'll be an interesting subplot tomorrow night. But the Belgian players have responded to his urgings. And they look a united bunch, to be honest. If you look at Vance and Company on social media, has always been very much about the unity of this Belgium team. Of course, have a lot of disparate personalities and languages, the Flemish, the Walloons in the team. A lot of them came out of Anderlecht. Lukaku came out of there, Fellaini as well, and Company himself. So a lot of work has been done the last 15 years in Belgium. I suppose they don't want to see it wasted, and that's why they don't want to see it to go the way it went against Wales in the Euros, and that's, I suppose, is the worry and the fear. But they got to the last 4 now, and that's the best they've ever done, comparable to 86.
John, what about Brazil? Were they just unlucky, or is there something deeper going on there?
A bit of both, Anthony. They were a little bit unlucky, I thought. They had more shots, they had more attempts on goal. I just thought they fell asleep a little bit. I think when Belgium were trying to get their shape early in the game, Brazil could have scored 2 or 3 times. Thiago Silva hit the post. But tactically, I'd wonder why they had Marcelo on the pitch, because he was all over the place. They completely exposed the flank he was on. Fernandinho was not a replacement for Casemiro, who was suspended, and Fernandinho had arguably as bad a game as he did in the 7-1 defeat 4 years ago. Of course, he scored an own goal that probably sapped a bit of his confidence, but they never really had that defensive bulwark to stop Belgium. And Belgium, to be fair to them, brought Fellaini into the team alongside Witsel. So once they woke up, Anthony, they really had a go. I thought Coutinho, who played well in the early games, probably ran out a little bit of puff in the match. And then Neymar couldn't rescue Brazil on his own. He tried a bit. He had a great shot towards the end, which Courtois tapped over. But I think I think with Neymar, as fantastic a player as he is, he's distracted too much by his reflection in his own mirror. When I compare Brazil to 2002, back then they had Rivaldo, Ronaldinho, and of course Ronaldo, who scored 8 goals in that tournament. They had 3 players playing at their peak. In this tournament, Brazil didn't have that, and they had a few deficiencies. Sticking with Jesus, I don't think was the best option, with Firmino an option in the team, and a little bit unlucky. A good, talented team, but these are the margins at the elite level of world football, in international football. These are the margins in which you win or you lose. And Belgium maybe got the rub of the green, but they took their chances, and De Bruyne, brilliant finish for that second goal.
John, just a word on Romelu Lukaku. I know he's been a hugely divisive figure in Belgium over the last while, but I really thought maybe it was his coming of age moment as a striker up there. He's been regarded as a flat track bully a lot of the time in the Premier League and scoring against lower level teams. And while he didn't score against Brazil the other night, I thought his hold up play, his movement, and his vision was probably something we hadn't seen from him before. I'd just like to get your views on that.
Yeah, Michael, I would agree with you completely. I think in the stats, I think he's only scored 1 goal against the top 6 last season in the Premier League. He's still young. As I said, he's only 25 years of age. He's been around a long time, Lukaku, when you consider he was at West Brom at one stage, Chelsea, of course, Manchester United now. He's the record goal scorer in Belgian football history. Now, I know they play a lot more games now with friendlies and that, but he surpassed Keulemans. And that movement and that strength that he showed for that opening goal, setting up De Bruyne, it was a sight to behold. It was absolutely brilliant. His build-up play and his assist was more impressive, lads, than I actually thought than the goal itself. So it's something to say when a player can be that unselfish to play out of his normal position and to set up Kevin De Bruyne's goal like that. So I think with all strikers, Michael, it's all about confidence. Harry Kane has got a lot of confidence at the moment. And Lukaku surely has a huge degree of confidence. He's a thoughtful man. He's an interesting man. And he's delivering at this World Cup. Hazard as well, I thought, was just immense at times. Once again, holding up the ball, holding up the play, dribbling in that second half when Belgium needed to take a bit of heat off the defenders and holding midfielders.
Yeah, we're going to turn our attention to England, John. You're obviously going to Moscow for Wednesday's semi-final against Croatia. You were there in Samara to watch them win on Saturday against Sweden. Another man who was watching them on Saturday against Sweden, and he's been my favourite character of the World Cup, has been Ross Kemp. There's kind of a 3-part journey to watching Ross Kemp watch England. Here's part 1 of Saturday's journey.
Yes! Now we hold. We do not give in. We do not allow them to score.
If that's not the most terrifying thing you've ever heard or seen, I don't know what is. That was obviously after they went 1-0 up. That was after Harry Maguire's header. And then I think this next one is after they win the game, full time.
Pickford! You beauty! You beauty!
And finally, a little bit later on, he gave us his more considered thoughts.
Can I take a picture of me?
My son's saying, Ken, I'll take a picture of him. Son, do we love England? Can you say it?
We love England.
We love England. And you know what? Everyone now should be worried about facing us. Bring it on.
Just gets more and more and more and more intense. It's I really enjoyed him. He kind of sums up perfectly the whole idea of England there. The whole sort of kind of comical chatting to his son at the start, and then suddenly it starts to get a little bit more real and more intense.
Most impressive thing is his stubble seemed to have grown. Like, I mean, within 2 or 3 hours, he just went, like, I mean, that man obviously has to shave about 4 times a day. it just increases the legend that he is.
Without question. The other unbelievable phenomenon about this English team and this English experience has been some of the fan footage we've been seeing around the UK that the BBC often cuts to it at half-time because, you know, they've got no ads, they've got to fill other stuff, they can't just analyse for the time being. And Croydon has just been a scene of pints being thrown everywhere. This is the sort of stuff I'm talking about. Absolutely alright. This is actually in the stadium, a nation obviously where you're allowed to bring pints into the stand. This is just a montage really of pint throwing.
Yeah, it seems to be. I was watching, actually, I must say to Kevin when he's on later on, because they showed Croydon and they showed a couple of other places, you know, this kind of pint going on. But it cut back. I think he was on the panel with Danny
Murphy.
It's Danny Murphy, and I don't know who the girl was in the middle. But anyway, he was. Everyone else was laughing and joking. He was nonplussed. He was just. I was just saying that's good man, Kevin. Stony face. He wasn't getting involved in it at all.
It seemed like, where do they go from here? Like, that was a quarter-final. That is the most intense level of pint throwing I've ever seen, which is a new phenomenon in itself. Like, what is the next thing they can do? Like, is it
Move on to the vodka.
Move on to the vodka, exactly. It's like, just have a pint of a Jaeger bomb ready or something to throw at somebody. I've spent £20 on this. I'm going to get my value money, my money for out of that. Like, I've seen it happen here before at different places. Like, during the Euros, there was a couple of pints thrown when Ireland got that penalty against France, where I was watching it, but it was nothing on that level. Like, the English, as always, have taken it on to another level. John, you were there in the flesh to actually watch the pint throwing happening in all its real life glory.
It was quite sedate, lads, to be honest, down in Samara. Not many of them there. I remember before the game I felt, where's the colour, where's the atmosphere here? And I was wondering when it was going to turn up. They had a couple of thousand fans doing that vodka song for the whole game, and had the band going and everything, but it did not feel like a World Cup quarter-final, guys. It did not feel like Brazil-Belgium did the night before, and felt like a qualifier for England. And they won it like a qualifier. Sweden were average, didn't use any variety, especially when they went behind. And apart from Jordan Pickford's excellence in goal in the second half, England, I thought, were comfortable winners. Good to see Maguire scoring his first goal on that stage. I thought Raheem Sterling was lively. I thought he was good. I thought he got behind the Sweden defence early on, and I thought he had one of his better games. And Dele Alli, of course, with shaking off that injury now, to produce probably his best performance as well in the tournament so far. And they're going to try and obviously use the width of the pitch and the pace against the Croatians to reach that first World Cup final in 52 years. So I think they're enjoying it. I think the pressure is still off them. I think they know what they're doing. Of course, they're very good on set pieces, which they really try to pinpoint Croatia on, because I don't think Croatia are the best at that. And they're going to try to use their pace against Croatia. But they've been a better team against Colombia. They've been a better team against Sweden. And all they can do, lads, is beat what's in front of them. I think they're a little bit underrated in terms of the quality of their players. And who knows what's going to happen now. But they're going to face the best midfielder they face all tournament, with Modric and Rakitic. I think Rebic has been excellent for Croatia in the tournament so far. He's a very dangerous player, and we're really going to stand to see how solid this English three-man defence is, and how much Jordan Henderson can cope with having to do a lot of the donkey work on his own. He was immense here today.
Good stuff, John. Enjoy St. Petersburg, and we'll catch up with you again tomorrow morning.
All right, lads. Take care.